Welcome to Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start with a look at the headlines.
The President commends the service rendered by the Air Force for national security. Western Provincial Councillor of the UPFA Upali Kodikara remanded. Dunesh Priyashantha alias Kondya released over the murder of Seya Sademi. A number of areas battered by the incessant rain. Landslide warnings issued for 10 districts still in effect.
President Maithripala says the service rendered by the Sri Lanka Air Force to national security over the past several decades cannot be underestimated. The President made this statement at an event held at the SLAF base in China Harbour, Trincomalee.
The President was welcomed by senior officers in keeping with military traditions upon his arrival at the Sri Lanka Air Force Base. President Sirisena commissioned 46 male and female cadet officers of the batch number 55 and number 7 respectively. He also pinned flying official badges to 8 officers of 83rd Flying Cadet Officer Course. 594 Yarmen and Yarwomen who successfully completed the course of Permanent Junior Yarmen of batch number 161 and Permanent Junior Yarwomen of batch number 31 passed out at this occasion. The service rendered by the Air Force to defeat the LTTE terrorists cannot be underestimated in any way. Air Force services are of the highest quality and standard, and we laud this. It is very important at such occasions to remember great war heroes who were killed in battle, those who were disabled, their parents and families. All personnel from the Tri-Forces who had laid down their lives and limbs deserve this respect. The Sri Lanka Air Force put on an aerial exhibition at the event, which was also made colourful by performances from the Air Force Band and the drill squad.
The National Building Research Organisation, or NBR, notes that the landslide warning issued for at-risk areas in 10 districts remains in effect due to incessant rains. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology forecasts that showers could be experienced in several parts of the island tonight and that some areas may experience rainfall of over 100 millimetres.
A landslide warning is in effect for at-risk areas in the districts of Kandy, Mathale, Nuwara, Badulla, Kegol, Ratnapura, Kalutara, Hambantota, Gaul and Mathura. The heavy rains experienced over the southwest of the island has drastically increased the water levels of 2 main rivers. The water level of the Nilvala River has risen from Pitabadara onwards, while the water level of the Ginganga has increased from Nilwa onwards. While a figure of 6.5 on the Panadugama water level gauge on the Nilvala River indicates a serious flood situation, as of this evening the gauge read 7.7. The water level gauge in Thalavama on the Ginganga was at 5.41 this evening, while 6.05 is considered a serious flood situation. The Udugama-Nilwa road in Gaul was inundated in Mahabodhivatha this morning, bringing traffic to a halt. Low-lying areas in several localities including Udugama, Panangala and Galandala were inundated as a result of the Gingama breaking its banks. A bridge on the Hinuduma-Nilwa road in Gaul near the Hinuduma town is at risk of caving in. Akrasa and surrounding areas were severely affected when the Nilvala River broke its banks. Several main roads and by-roads in Akrasa were inundated, while several parts of the Akrasa town were also flooded this morning. Meanwhile, a home in Gokravela, Pitabadara, was damaged when an earth embankment collapsed on it. Meanwhile, the Divisional Secretary of Yatiyantota has requested the residents of several homes which have been flooded and are at risk from landslides to evacuate. Our reporter states that the Divisional Secretary visited the area this morning and directed residents to a welfare centre. Meanwhile, 2 fishermen were killed when they were struck by lightning today on the Sandivali lagoon in Iravur. The deceased are residents of Gilaveti in Sandivali, aged 27 and 37. The Met Department states that 24 people have been killed in lightning strikes so far this year. It is notable that heavy showers could be experienced over the island, especially during the evening hours. Sri Lanka will experience the intermonsoonal season. However, we do not expect to have the prevailing weather conditions to continue for a prolonged period of time. We do hope that this situation will get better over the next 6 to 7 days. We request the public to take adequate precaution during this period of time.
Western Provincial Councillor Upali Kodikaro was arrested on charges of obstructing duties of a police officer, was remanded until Friday the 23rd of this month. The Provincial Councillor was remanded when he was produced before Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitia today.
Upali Kodikara was arrested this morning on the charge of obstructing duties of the OIC of the Kirulapana police station when the former president was summoned to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into large-scale corruption and fraud. Speaking in court, the police clarified that despite the fact that only a selected group of people were authorized entrance to the Commission of Inquiry, Upali Kodikara had failed to heed the orders of the police and forcibly entered the premises by pushing aside the police. Attorneys appearing on behalf of Upali Kodikara said that any person has the freedom to go to the commission, adding that no notice board was displayed to the effect that admittance was restricted. However, the magistrate pointed out that a previous order had been issued that persons unconnected to the Commission of Inquiry were not permitted inside. Under the Penal Code, the Magistrates Court can grant bail to the suspect over this matter, but the police was strictly opposed to this, noting that police officers had been affected gravely. The respected court rejected bail on the grounds of a pre-existing case. Western Provincial Councillor Upali Kodikara surrendered to the Cinnamon Gardens police station at 11:20 this morning. He was arrested on the charges of intimidating public officers who were on duty and for using force. Subsequently, he was produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate. The court remanded him until the 23rd of this month. We hope to file a case against him with regard to the crimes committed under the Penal Code.
Some days before, we saw from Sirasa NTV media an unruly MP acting and also violating certain rules and regulations. But at that time, the police did not arrest him on suspicion. But repeatedly, NTV and Sirasa, they telecasted this on public interest and for the best benefit of the country. Now, police very recently arrested this MP. This shown police has acted in a very brave manner. Didn't arrest him, but anyway, at the last moment they done it. So I think media now they are doing their duty well on the best interest of the country and best interest of the people. So this is where we have seen police as well as media, they have done their obligations and their duties, and this is a very good example for future incident, and this we can take as a precedent.
The Criminal Investigations Department is continuing with its investigations into the Avantgarde floating armoury docked at the Galle harbour. Police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said that 4 containers on the vessel were sealed yesterday. ASP Gunasekara added that Navy and police security has been put in place on the vessel. Meanwhile, views were expressed on the Suttoner political program telecast on our sister channel Sirasa TV on Saturday over comments on various social media platforms pertaining to the Avantgarde issue.
අපිට මේ පිළිබඳව කතා කරන්නට උවමනා නැතිනම්
If there is no need to talk about this matter, let's refrain from doing so. But since we constantly believe that this matter should be discussed with your presence and that this matter should be taken to a certain point, we are presenting this argument to you. Because we strongly reject allegations leveled by certain factions who are using social media platforms without joining this debate, that the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited is also going to get involved in this business. We condemn this baseless statement. This is not our aim. If you are asking us what our aim is, it is that we want to see this vessel returned to the Navy so the country can earn some revenue from this enterprise. Several millions of rupees were earned through this. Our view is that it would be good if this is done in that way. That is our view. Thereby these accusations are libel.
Dunesh Priyashantha alias Kondaya was acquitted in the murder of the girl Seya Sadewmi when he was produced before Minuwangoda magistrate Ruan Pathirana this morning. However, he remains in remand custody as he is wanted in connection with other crimes.
Dunesh Priyashantha alias Kondaya and his brother Saman Jailat were brought to the Minuwangoda court premises amidst tight security. Making submissions in court today, the Criminal Investigations Department requested that Dunesh Priyashantha alias Kondaya be acquitted, as it has been proven that he is not involved in the rape and murder of Seya Sadewmi. However, having been informed that the suspect is wanted by the Gampaha and Veyangoda police stations in connection with other crimes, the magistrate ordered that he be returned to remand custody until he is produced before the Attanagalla and Gampaha magistrates' courts tomorrow and the day after. The identification of the actual suspect gives us some solace. Amid the pain of losing our child, my wife and I had to face serious accusations. Since the whole country knows our innocence now, it gives us some solace. All that is left now is the struggle to live. We have nothing now. I have lost my job too. We are facing a situation where we cannot walk on the road. I believe that this will be corrected in the future and that the truth will be victorious.
The police have launched extensive investigations into the alleged rape of a girl in Suryawava Hambantota. Police media spokesperson ASP Ruan Gunasekara elaborates.
It was reported recently that a 14-year-old girl had been raped by a Buddhist monk residing in a temple in Ranbudubava area, which comes under jurisdiction of Suryawava Police Division. The suspected monk was taken into custody on that very day and produced before the Hambantota Magistrate Court yesterday. This monk has been remanded until the 23rd of this month. The 14-year-old victim is currently receiving in-house treatment in the Hambantota hospital.
This could be your child. Let's protect them for the happiness of our children. This island-wide awareness campaign, spearheaded by Newsfirst together with the Ministry of Law and Order and Prison Reforms, aimed to ensure the protection of children and build them a better future, got underway in Gampaha and Kadavada today with an overwhelming response from the public. This could be your child. Let's protect them for the happiness of our children.
Unparalleled hearts of innocence, weightless on winds, these blossoms dance. Blessings to every nation they've brought, though we haven't spared them enough blood.
Large crowds gathered in the Gampaha town to commence the For the Happiness of Our Children campaign. The awareness campaign, which commenced its journey from opposite the Gampaha railway station today, continued its quest on educating the public on child protection.
To protect them by us must be born.
We commend this endeavour carried out by Sirasa. I am very happy about this initiative being carried out for the sake of safeguarding the lives of our children.
MTV MBC and Newsfirst of the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited is always at the forefront of carrying out such programs based on the national requirements of the country. We invite everyone to join us for the sake of our children, who are the future generation.
This is a good program. The entire Gampaha town has come together for this initiative. I think this program, which is creating awareness on child abuse, is an important and timely program.
The campaign also received the voluntary support of several organizations who joined the journey to raise awareness on securing a bright future for our children.
I'm extremely happy about this great endeavour which is being carried out among the business community by Sirasa TV, which is known to be a media institution for carrying out such programs for the people.
The awareness campaign reached villages outside the main town.
We are genuinely scared about what is happening to children. I believe that we should look into our own children.
The other leg of the awareness campaign got underway in the Kadavada town with the sole sponsorship of the Kadavada Police. The event was organized by the Police OIC and the Community Police Unit. This could be your child. Let's protect them for the happiness of our children.
The Court of Appeal today ordered that the Army Commander and the Director of Intelligence of the Sri Lanka Army be named as parties in the habeas corpus petition pertaining to the disappearance of journalist Prageet Eknaligoda.
This order was made when the petition filed by Prageet Eknaligoda's wife was taken up at the Court of Appeal today. At this instance, lawyers representing the interest of Eknaligoda requested court to name the Army Commander and the Director of Intelligence of the Sri Lanka Army to be named as parties to the case. After considering the facts presented, President of the Court of Appeal Justice Vijit Malalgoda and Justice F.C.J. Madhavela made an order to this effect. A request was also made to court to direct to the Homagama courts the persons named by the army officers currently in the custody of the Criminals Investigation Department over the case for evidence to be recorded. Recent investigations have revealed that the abduction of Prageet Eknaligoda was done with the knowledge of certain army officials. There is presently a case on Prageet Eknaligoda's disappearance underway at the Homagama Magistrates Court. We requested the Court of Appeal to produce in court persons who are named by the Army Commander and Director of Intelligence so that they can give evidence before the Homagama Magistrates Court. Court granted permission for this.
Addressing a public meeting in Lunugam yesterday, Minister Sajith Premadasa expressed views on media freedom.
Certain influential members of the previous government are saying that there is no media freedom under the government of good governance. I find this statement to be rather astonishing. But how did the previous government ensure media freedom? They ensured media freedom by killing Lasantha Wickrematunge. Furthermore, they masterminded the disappearance of Prageet Eknaligoda, who had opposing views of the government. It did not end there. If there was any journalist who was against the government in some way or another, white bands were sent to their homes. After losing their citizenship of the country, they were compelled to flee the country due to the fear instilled by the state. So this was how the previous government protected media freedom. So can these influential people of the previous government say that they protected media freedom? The Sirasa Media Institution was completely burned down in flames. In addition to Sirasa, several other channels were attacked, one after the other. How can a state leader who was behind all of these incidents even dare make a statement that under his government, media freedom was protected?
The head of mission of the European Commission in Colombo, David Daly, commented today on the GSP Plus concession, which is still under discussion. He was in conversation with Newsfirst Stephanie Lazarus on the final report of the European Union Election Observation Mission compiled following the August 17th parliamentary elections.
I would make two general remarks. The first is, while the report is very positive in the ways that I've mentioned, of course there's still room for improvement, as there is everywhere. The second point I'd make is that indeed the report touches on a number of issues which themselves are very important in the assessment of the GSP Plus issue, and as such I think the report represents a very useful input into that discussion.
Do you see Sri Lanka getting closer to the GSP Plus?
Well, I think the new government that came in at the start of the year put human rights and rule of law and good governance very high on its agenda, and I think that's very helpful. Granting or not granting the GSP Plus is not because one ambassador thinks things are improving or not. It's a very detailed assessment by the European Commission and the EU generally, looking at those 27 conventions and looking at the reality on the ground in Sri Lanka and seeing whether the situation here is improving and to what degree it is improving, and what are the commitments of the Sri Lankan government for further improving. We are working very closely with the Sri Lankan authorities on preparing exactly that type of discussion, and
And when is the next discussion going to be?
Well, we have, I mean, one new thing is that under our joint commission, which is a body that meets at high official level between Sri Lanka and the European Union, earlier this year in Colombo, the joint commission agreed to set up a new working group on good governance, rule of law and human rights. And we're just working now, preparing the first meeting of that. Will be, I hope, before Christmas, just before the end of the year, here in Colombo.
A prisoner has committed suicide by hanging himself inside a holding cell at the Vallampitiya prison. Police media spokesperson ASP Ron Gunasekara said that the police discovered the body at around 3:40 this afternoon. The victim was an individual who had been arrested on the charge of failing to establish his identity. The police media spokesperson said that the victim had committed suicide using the sarong he had been wearing.
A convention jointly organized by several opposition parties was held at the amphitheatre of the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo this evening. The convention was organized in opposition to the resolution on Sri Lanka, which was adopted at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva.
During previous instances, due to various allegations which were presented, a Darusman report was published. Thereafter, the Paranagama report came about in relation to the Darusman report. In this battle, the UN High Commissioner, the United States and Mangala Samaraveera's agreement accuses this country for being responsible for the disappearance of 40,000 civilians. But we reject both these reports. The foreign minister did not have moral strength to stand up in Geneva and say what is stated in this report is false. If we are endorsing what is stated in this resolution, why did we not bring this resolution ourselves? Why did we let America bring forth such a resolution and then succumb to their report by signing it? The report recommends as to how we should make reforms to the structure of our security forces and how our police force must be reformed. Today we as the opposition are saying that they are preparing to establish a hybrid court. But those in the government are saying no, this is not a hybrid court and it would be a domestic mechanism which would be implemented. The only way to solve this problem is by publicizing the resolution which was passed. A debate on the Geneva resolution will be taken up in Parliament the day after tomorrow. The government is yet to make the parliamentarians aware of the resolution which was passed in Geneva. Why is this being hidden? Are they afraid of the truth being revealed? This government is functioning on lies. Do they have a program to fulfill the promises made to the general public? No. Is the 10,000 rupees being added to the basic salary? No. Some were waiting till Ranil Wickremesinghe's coalition government came into effect to buy a car. But now, let alone buying a car, they can't even say the word car. They have dashed the wonderlands which they promised.
Well, that's a wrap of Primetime News here at News First. For the News First team, I'm Florine Rajendran.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder, you can keep up to date with all of the latest news by visiting our website, Newsfirst.lk. Good night and good luck.